All right, Mr. Leji.
Yes.
Today we're talking about changes.
Tupac.
Tupac. Changes. For those of us old schoolers. Changes in my
That's
life.
house.
Yeah.
But Tupac's one is different.
Yes, it's obviously, but I'm
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
it
okay.
was a
Yeah.
big jam. So
Same
like,
era.
in my time. So, I've been really kind of thinking around changes because there've also been a lot of changes in my life in the um, last little while. Uh, just realizing for us having a fifth child,
Mm.
the dynamic of now having a fifth child, and where we are in life, and how different having this fifth child has been to our other experiences of having other children.
Mm-hmm.
And so really, I've really been thinking around that, how, even as human beings, we change. Life is not static, it's dynamic.
Yeah.
90, we change, we grow older, and there's different changes that come with that, which affects, if you're married, it affects your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
It affects your parenting, it affects how your children experience you, it affects you in the workplace. All these things about how we are developing as human beings, how we are maturing, and that affects kind of all of life. And so I realized that sometimes we, so let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. For example, is that is so with us having our fifth child, right? So she's young; she just turned one, and
Oh, I
my wife is like hands on with her.
Yeah.
And so I've realized that to some degree, she has wanted me to be as involved in Amila's life, which is our 1 year old, as I have been
With the
with
others.
the others. And so even around the house, hey, can you do this? Can you change nappy? Can you, the sense of, and I felt at times that she had a sense of, hey man, I'm not doing enough, or I'm not present enough
Sure.
for her and helping her out with this little one. And yet for me, because of where we are at in life and where the other children are at in life, and now that they're older, they require me more.
Yes.
Because I guess the initial stages of a child is like you need the nurturer, and then later on you need the father to step in in terms of directing, in terms of discipline and things like that. And um and so and so there's been kind of like there've been moments of this tension where she's felt like, hey, I'm not being involved enough, but at the same time I'm like, look, I can't be as involved with this one because I've got four other kids
So
that need me in a
yeah.
different way, right now.
Would you say that um you knew that that was gonna be the case? So like your capacity has definitely obviously changed
Yes.
because the dynamics aren't the same.
Yes.
Do you feel like you knew that no, I'm definitely not, I'm gonna have to step up for all the other four so that she could be with number 5?
No, I must say it wasn't like a conscious thing.
Sure.
It just started to happen that way practically. Is I just started to see myself having to care for the others. Really be more concerned about what's happening in their world.
Yeah.
More and more. And then that was when I think I guess I picked up that dynamic, the difference in expectations. And I think whenever there's a difference in expectations, that's when you can get tensions or
Yeah.
or clashes.
And what I'm curious though is that I would assume, and correct me here, I would assume then you then have a conversation about things aren't the same.
Yes.
And we are not the same. This family or this unit is not the same. The demands on us are not the same. So how do we adjust?
That's right. Yeah.
And how did I don't know if it's personal, but how did she take that? Like, as in where are you guys now on that with that?
So it was actually having a team chat, a team talk to readjust, to say, hey, listen, this is the new norm.
Okay.
And so I think on reflecting on it is I remember having the second child was the biggest adjustment.
Okay.
For, people ask, hey, what are the different. So one was obviously you're like, oh my god, there's a human being, like how am I going to take care
Yeah.
of this human being, and you freak out and you buy
Yeah.
everything, whatever. When a second child comes along, it's not as daunting because you feel like, okay, I've been here
Yeah.
before. But for me, the biggest adjustment was, in my mind, was like, we've done this before, but I hadn't factored in that when the second baby comes, it means my wife is going to have to be hands on with second baby.
Mm.
Sorry, yeah, second baby. And therefore, baby number one is going to have to be my primary responsibility.
And
So I
and
hadn't made that.
and number one was still very young at the time,
Yes,
so the needs were different.
yes.
I get you.
And so I hadn't factored in that actually it's, the responsibility is going to be on me to take
Yes.
care of number one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so that's why the adjustment was so big. Whereas I think number 3 and 4, it was like, we already dealt with adjustment with having 2 kids.
Yeah.
And so I guess in thinking about this, I realized that as humans, we don't necessarily factor in change. I think we like things to remain as is.
Yeah.
And so when we don't factor in change, especially when you're in a relationship, then you'll have disappointment or unmet expectations. And also
Yeah.
that change is part of maturing.
Yeah.
That if we are truly maturing, we'll embrace change, but find helpful and healthy ways to navigate the change. I think just in having conversations with different gents, it's when you're growing in your marriage, it's like then something happens. It's one, when you get into marriage, it's supposed to be till death do us
Yeah, yeah,
part,
yeah.
through sickness and health,
Yeah.
and all those things, right? And so it's already in making that vow or commitment, you're factoring in that, hey, there's some unknowns
That are gonna come up.
that could happen, and I'm committing to you,
Yeah.
regardless of the unknown, which is it's a real, like a faith thing,
Yeah, I was
right?
actually thinking about it the other day. I mean, my wife and I, like, now this year, we're hitting 10 years of being married, and that's almost a yeah, but and that's like almost what, a third of my life, right?
Yes.
And so I think about how big that is. Like right now, a third of my life has been spent with this human, this person, and how also I heard another couple some other time. I mean, older couple. They were like, I think they were celebrating like 40 years together, and I was just thinking about how you, as much as you are with this person for majority of your life and time, you're still gonna change, and you're not gonna be the same person from when you guys met to when you guys got married to 10 years to 20 years to 40 years down the line. And it's that what you're saying. It's you are still saying yes to the things that you don't know that will come up and how this person is going to change. So
Yeah.
it's like I'm in it and I'm committing to what I don't know,
Exactly.
right?
100%.
And I'm committing to the different parts of you that are going to come alive and the parts of you that are going to die as you go on. And it's like someone used this analogy of you literally are married to 5, 10 different people, kinds of people in the space of your lifetime, depending when you get married to your spouse.
Yeah.
And like, I thought that was wild. Like, I thought it was wild until I realized that, actually, like, I am not even the same person I was 2 years ago, 5 years ago,
Yeah.
10 years ago. Yet, we're still here.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? And I
Yes.
think like that's something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, that freaks us out, right? When we're thinking of our spouse,
Yeah.
right? That they are going to
Yeah,
change.
yeah.
But it freaks us out because we don't factor in that we also
True.
change. So we have that somehow this expectation that they must stay the same. They must, be the same, look the same, or whatever it is. But we give ourselves, we don't factor in that also happens.
I think,
with
but I
us.
think that's probably because, like, there's a saying, it's like people never think. You always think, I'm still the same guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You until you realize, no, I'm not actually the same guy. And so I think that it's easier to look at the other than to look at ourselves, because I feel like some changes that happen in us, to yourself, um, they happen sometimes really subconsciously until you catch it. Someone's like, "You've changed," and you're like, "Yeah, actually, I have. I
Yeah.
actually have.
It's a good
It's
thing
a
that
good
I've
thing." Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So I mean we've got to mature. That's really it. And I think it's that journeying with each other through those changes. And so whether it's friendships, that's a real one. You know,
Mm,
like how many friends have you had since, right?
yeah. I
You know,
think.
they're friends that maybe
Yeah,
you've
yeah,
had since way, way
yeah,
back,
yeah.
and they're friends that maybe you've just friendships that have just started now.
Yes, true.
And there's maybe friendships that
Mm,
you just decided along the way, hey man, maybe we come from way back, but we can't continue
facts.
going forward,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So it's all those, I guess, those changes that
Yeah. I must say that I think for me, for myself, I think the biggest shift for me has been, I mean, I'll use my dating experience as an example. It's like we dated in varsity, right? And you're like, in varsity, the community of people that you have or the type of person that you are is also limited to your exposure, your resources,
yeah.
aka your money, and
Mm-hmm.
all of that stuff. And it's like, then you get out of that space, and then you're building your career, you're building your life, you're building your sense of direction and vision. And that person is a different person, right? And it's like, I often think about, it's very possible to change, you will change, but you use the word maturity as, I don't, it's not automatic that
Yes.
change will bring maturity,
Yes.
because change will definitely ruffle some feathers, and you'll feel like you can either change for the better or for the worse.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and I think that it takes being aware that things are changing, I am changing, and how do I adjust and adapt
Hmm.
in a good way?
Yeah.
Um, the most for me, I think personally, my biggest thing is like, physically, I have definitely changed from, from I just had a mental picture from freaking 13 years ago. I was like super scrawny, and I wasn't as tall as I was now. And it's like, and things have happened. There's been getting bigger, getting smaller, uh, things breaking, things mending in my body, as you can see here. And but like a few hours ago, I was at my physio, and she's like, "The last time I saw you was pre-COVID," and it's like, "You've changed. Like you look bigger, you look stronger." And I'm like, "I
Come on,
did,
physio.
yeah," but then I was just like, I felt like I still feel the same, right? And it's like sometimes it's okay for people outside to see the change in you that you don't see. Just let it be the good part,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about physical change, because that is an interesting one,
Mm,
and one that trips especially gents up, right?
mm,
I think generally in our society, a lot of body shaming happens around women,
mm,
and so there's this. I guess constantly we're having these pictures of younger women, and
yeah.
everything is smooth, everything is
Yeah.
everything is in place, everything is whatever it
Yeah.
is, and the reality is that bodies change,
Mm,
but we often look at women's bodies, and we never talk about men's bodies.
mm,
That even as gents, nati, our bodies change, right? Most gents, the midsection
yeah.
is is where
Amen.
the life happens, you're right.
Amen.
But you don't really, you can have guys walking around and umkab,
Yeah.
but there's never like the sense of shaming someone because of umkab.
But Jen's shaming
right?
each other with tumkas.
Eh?
That's a, you know what
Yeah,
I'm
but it's
saying?
like
Like
a,
that's a,
but also like if I had to shave Nomkaba, whatever,
yeah, we move on. Yeah,
it wouldn't really do
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
It would just chuckle and move
Yeah, I
on,
think,
type
I
of
mean,
thing.
I think like with women, I mean, just guys in general, like in terms of society and media, are definitely, we've been conditioned, consciously or subconsciously, to what a woman should look like. Um, which is stupid because it's just like, you're kidding me. You want to tell me that a woman from 18 years old to 25 to 40 is going to look this particular way
Yeah.
throughout life and all its changes?
Yeah,
It's
but that's,
crazy.
I guess that's then the expectation, right? And
Yeah.
then when she doesn't meet that standard or that measure, it's like, okay, then find someone who is,
Mm.
and that then becomes the allure, is that hey, find a younger girl
Yeah.
or whatever
I
it is.
think
Yeah.
it feels like what you're saying is also touching on attraction, right? Because I think also, I mean, like, I know that what I was attracted to 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 5 years ago has changed as
Yes.
time has gone on.
Yes.
Um, which I think is also like a very, I think when it comes to marriage, that is a big thing, to put it lightly. It's a big thing in the sense that the spouse that you met and the spouse that, that started having kids, and the spouse later that faces aging
Mm-hmm.
naturally, physically, is going to be a different person. And it's like, and I'll speak more as a guy than from any other perspective, is that if you are not aware, right? If you are not aware that, are you still attracted? What still attracts you to
Mm-hmm.
your person,
Mm.
even as they're changing, and it's not what it used to be.
Yes.
If you're not aware and it catches you off guard, it's going to affect you to some degree. It's going to affect your relationship. And I think that, I mean, I say this to say that I've been learning this lesson myself. It's like, I have changed, right? Yet my wife still looks at me as, yeah, I'm still attracted to you, but I'm like, is it the physical stuff? Because I've definitely changed, I don't know how many times in the last 10 years. Or is it the more um, intangible stuff of character,
Mm.
right? Which, that stuff, like, if it changes for the good, it's great. If it changes for the worse, you still can't really hold it and see it that, hey man, you're unalamkawa, or you're slim, or you have a six-pack, whatever the case is. But attraction is also a big one. So we covered body, we covered attraction. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big one, bro. It's a big one because, like you say, even I think what's attractive, you mature in your understanding or appreciation of what is truly attractive.
You can,
You can,
or you
yes,
can
yes.
just
Me, I'm
regress.
giving Jen's
No,
benefit of
yeah,
doubt.
I'm
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah.
much for the
No,
for
I
that.
get
Is this
that's what I'm talking.
yeah,
I guess, yeah. I guess the point of this and these conversations for us to actually to grow.
yes,
Yeah, to grow
yes,
the right in
yes.
the right direction.
I guess
Yeah.
I was only saying that because, man, I've seen guys regress
Yes.
where the why like the either one spouse goes through changes, whether it's like lost a job or gained weight, however way the change is,
Mm-hmm.
how you respond to it determines what you're saying, determines your maturity to the
Yes.
change. And so,
Yes.
like, the regression for me is hard to see because I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen it when guys feel like their wife has given birth, like she's working X amount of hours, and it's like
Like
really
she's changed.
no,
Her
she's
body, she used
changed.
to be a size
Yeah,
whatever, and now
she's
she's a
changed. But then,
size.
like,
Yeah.
for the guy now, it feels and looks like it's even harder to so-called keep being attracted to
Mm-hmm.
this person that is changing. And it's like, that's a conscious decision that you have to decide what variables don't determine don't deter you. So like if you change in this particular way, I'm still here. If you change in this particular way, yeah, maybe we got to question this part. Do you get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think with some things, you know, like body and thing, it's good to have. I think it's healthy to have a conversation,
Yeah.
because I don't. I think it's unhealthy where, for example, with attraction, where there's something that it's not a, you know, it's not attractive to you, for you not to, I guess, have a conversation at least, around it, because there's obviously the other side where people just don't care anymore,
Yeah.
and it's just like,
Yeah.
whatever, and it's like, no, you can actually eat healthily, you can actually get some exercise. Those are just basic things. You're not even like asking you
Yeah.
to, you know, climb mountains, anything. And so for me, like, I guess I'm working with that kind of framework, is that at least people are doing the basic things. And but there are certain situations where people have medical conditions and they can't, and it's like, hey man, listen, then, you know, you got to mature, you got to grow into this next phase, or this particular stage that you guys are into,
Yeah.
because there's so much more to a person. There's more than just the physical.
Yeah.
It's you know, who are they, the character. I mean, when we get married to people, when we hook up with, yeah, when we get into relationships, it's more than the physical attraction, but it's also
Yeah.
got to do with, you know, the person in their entirety.
And for you, just on the broader topic then of change, what has been like kind of like the most challenging and great thing for you, just in terms of changing? Like when you think back, I mean, I can only draw from your wisdom and the years that you have ahead of me, but I think about what you've definitely journeyed through, besides kids and marriage. It's like what has been, I guess, a significant change in your life that you feel like, yeah, this one taught me life.
Sure. I think probably for me is just realizing, like, yo, bro, like, my life is not my own.
Mm,
Like, in terms of a pecking order, I am last of last,
okay.
in the sense of, uh, if there's food coming here, you know, my family comes first. It's
Yeah.
that kind of thing. It's that, and so, which has meant putting some of the things, my desires, at bay,
Mm,
because now I have a responsibility to a wife and to children.
mm,
So it's that, it's a thing that I sometimes love and I enjoy, and it's something that I actually hate at times, to be honest.
yeah. Nah, I
Like,
get you.
there
I
are
hear
moments
you.
where I'm like, I wish I could just do what I wanted with this money.
Yes.
I wish I could just go where I wanted in this,
Yeah.
and so I think, yeah, just those moments, and then, you know, you come to, and then you realize, okay, go home, bro. Like, you know, and like, and honestly, the times where you'd maybe see someone doing something, and you're like, if I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
a wife, or I didn't have children, oh,
Mm-hmm.
then
I know.
ngabeng hamba now, you know, or whatever
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is,
yeah, yeah.
or you know, or I'd be going to this place or visiting that thing,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing, and and it's so it's those. I think those are some of the, I think, changes for me, and then probably a bigger one, because now I'm 40 plus.
Mm.
Uh,
Hey man, happy belated, bro.
yes, you're right.
Yeah.
And so, which has been is like physical
Yes.
changes. That for me has been really kind of interesting to deal with, in that
Bro, that
now,
stuff scares me, bro. I'm not like, I used to be like, I have a joke with my wife. I'm like, bro, I just like, come 60 or somewhere there, the Lord must just take me gently,
yeah,
because I'm aging. For me, to some degree, it unsettles me, man. Like I
yeah,
don't, yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so physical changes is just like, I mean, I made I made a habit that, you know what, bruh, no mkaba for me. And I'm gonna make sure I'm always active and exercising, whether it's gym or whatever it is, you
Yeah.
know. So that's the one thing. So even though I'm exercising, I've realized that like I've got more aches and pains, or
Mm,
the recovery time is a lot longer now. Yeah. So just the reality of that has been real.
mm,
Um, and then so I guess there's that aspect of physically, and then spiritually. For me, I've realized that as I've grown and as I've matured, the consequences of bad decisions are more
mm.
dire in my life than they were when I was younger.
I think that applies holistically, to
Yeah.
like just in general.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, just so when I say spiritually, I guess spiritually is like all of life.
Mm,
Yeah, it affects all of life. It
mm,
affects obviously my walk with Jesus, my being a husband.
mm.
So just that it's like carrying more weight, if I could put it that way. And um, and because you mature, the things that you deal with are deeper, or at a
Mm,
deeper level, as opposed to like a
mm,
surface.
mm.
And so I'm realizing this now in my journey with God, or journey with Jesus, is like it's no longer just like surface level. It's deep heart things that you can't see, things that
Yeah.
other people,
Yeah.
that now,
Yep.
it's now a thing of, Langa, will you deal with this, or you're going to run away with it? And it's a sign of whether you're mature or not.
Yeah.
um and so yeah, so a lot of it, because I realize, man, there's a lot of stuff that we can hide from people.
Yeah.
uh, but I think true maturity comes when we can be who we profess to be. The closer we are,
Yes, I get you.
and I think that's the journey. Is we have this image that we put out there, or who we are called to be, and the more we mature, the closer the gap,
I get you.
the
Yeah,
more
yeah,
that gap
true.
closes. So the more I'm maturing, the more I'm realizing I'm becoming who I'm professing to be.
I think,
Or that's the hope,
yeah,
at least.
I often think about so to say, the trajectory of maturity and how the pace or the momentum of maturity or change is like it it's really dictated by you know what, there's a cost, bro. There's a cost to maturity.
Oh yeah.
And I've come to realize that that is the thing that makes people go through things like so-called midlife crisis.
Yes.
and and you feel like I'm losing out on opportunities, moments,
Mm.
experiences, and all these things. And then by the time it catches up to you, sometimes it's too late, and sometimes it's just going to take you a long time to just do what you need to correct, like correct what you need to
Mm.
correct. And like I often think about right now as it stands. I think about, like, right now, let's just say my foot, my leg, it I need plus minus 2 weeks for my foot to heal. And in that time, I need to be making sure I'm doing my physiotherapy and I'm getting my foot in order. In the next 2 to 3 years, if I say I want to do a Ironman or a whatever warrior race, and I have to swim, cycle, and run, in these next 2 years, I need to actually do quite a bit of work,
Mm.
right? If I decide that now in this time I'm just gonna chill, there's nothing I can do. The moon boot is the moon boot. Now I have killed the goal that's in 2 years.
Mm.
Do you get what I'm saying? And the goal, I'm not maybe gonna finish at the time that I needed to, or I'm not even gonna compete at the time I need to. Another example, Mukaba. You're
Mm.
like, yo, I just love Chisanyama with the boys every single Sunday with the pap, kwa mai, or whatever the vibe is. And man, this one I can't let go of. Sharp. And then 5, 10 years later, and the clothes don't fit, or the people tell you that you have gout, the doctors tell you have gout. What then? Right?
Yes.
And so I think sometimes it's understanding that. That's why I was saying that there's a cost, right? It's like the pleasures of right now don't help us achieve what we want to achieve.
Yes.
And so I think that the only grace I can give is that I also feel it sometimes. It's like, oh damn, I think this one I'm gonna take the knock.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have that Coke with the pop with the Vors and everything.
Yeah.
I'll deal with this in gym tomorrow.
Yes.
Do you get what I'm saying? And it's like, as long as you know what the cost is of pausing, slowing down, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
But you see, you actually nailed it, because that for me is that maturity.
Yeah.
Is recognizing that there's a cost. And unfortunately, there's a cost to achieving certain things. And when you have a child wants to eat, wants to drink juice, wants to eat cake, and
Yeah.
you as an adult,
Ooh.
that it's not going to help you in the long run.
Ooh.
It might be nice now, it won't be
Yeah.
good for your teeth, it won't be good for your
Yeah.
health, it won't be good for a whole lot of things. But then you train the child to recognize that there are consequences
Yes.
to certain decisions and certain diets. And the child then grows and figures that out along the way, and then they understand, oh, that's why I wasn't supposed to drink Coke after drinking Nestam or whatever. Right. Whatever. But you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's that, and so that's then, because they are growing and they're understanding that life has consequences.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing, I guess, for us, is that as we grow, as we mature, we understand that our decisions have consequences.
Yeah.
And hopefully, and because we are maturing, we are making better decisions,
Yeah.
because we're not just thinking about the now, but we're thinking about the long term. And so I mean, I think this applies across board, is then it determines how we invest our time, how we
Yes.
invest our money. It's not that, hey, listen, good marriages just happen,
Yeah.
or good fathers just come in a lucky packet box, but it's people that invest time, that are willing to pay the price
Yes.
to have a good marriage. And I think, though, in this generation, like, people just don't want anything that's difficult.
Yeah.
As soon as a relationship gets difficult, it's no longer fun or whatever. Oh no, take care of number one, or whatever it is. Take care of yourself, girl, or whatever it is. Self-care, this whole self-care movement. As soon as a friendship gets difficult, oh no, cut out toxic friends. It's like, no, it's not necessarily that your friend was toxic, but it's just changes that are happening. Like, mature people sit down and have conversations.
Yeah.
Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's this whole generation now. If anything's too difficult, then get out the way.
Yeah.
Even how people they say now, I guess, what is it, millennials, or don't keep jobs, don't stay.
I'm
that thing.
a millennial, bro. Like,
Yeah. But obviously there's varying
yeah.
degrees of
Yeah.
that. About Gen Z, what, but it's this whole thing of like, work, and then when the job gets too difficult, no, bail out, go find another job. And we don't train people. There's actually a cost to achievement. Learning to work, learning to invest, learning to grind through tough times in relationships. Even marriages. I mean, divorce rate is wild,
It's
bro.
ridiculous.
Because guys hit a wall, and it's like, no, this is no longer fun.
Yeah.
Okay, it means we're not compatible. Okay, divorce.
You know what, bro? I still really get fascinated, for lack of a better word, at the factors that contribute to people just, I'm out, like tapping out of something when it's hard.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, but yes, like, it's when it's hard, it's not nice, but to expect for it to be easier somewhere else is so to say, a bit dumb because it's gonna get hard wherever you're going.
Yeah,
It's
it's
the
just life.
it's the idea that you think it's greener on the other side until you get the water bill and it's like, can you maintain it? Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, man, there's a cost. I feel like, yeah,
That's just part of life,
yeah,
bro.
yeah,
That's how we grow,
yeah,
is through challenges.
yeah, yeah,
That's how we grow.
yeah. Are we dropping the mic? Is this? It felt like
It felt like
we just dropped the mic.
okay.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Still do appreciate your eyes and your time. Please do subscribe. Please do refer the channel to other people. And we really do appreciate you. And that's it from us, the Four Fathers. See you next time, or you see us next time. Peace.